Good evening and salutations, my soap opera fans. So, as the title says, Trina, the definition of unlikable. Holy shit, Trina has just been. They have not done that girl any fucking favors whatsoever. They haven't done any favors towards her from the very beginning. And then they started to because of Spencer, and then they just said, fuck it. Now we're going to sit there and talk about all of that and much more. But let's sit there and start off with roll call. Thank you, Sean. So, Amy's in the chat, how you doing tonight? Black Man's in the chat, how you doing tonight? Allison's in the chat, how you doing tonight? Jakaris is in the chat, how you doing tonight? Um, Sean is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Spiderquake's in the chat. How you doing tonight? Did Trina Warrenus make you take a nap and that's why you're 8 minutes late? No, because my goddamn headphones wasn't working. That's fine. Allison says she will feel guilty when her mom gets old and dies one day. Yeah. No, trust me, I was ready to go, but my goddamn headphones wasn't working. um. Okay, so now you're taking it back. Now you don't like how they're writing Trina. This woman came in a fucking snowstorm, pregnant. In a fucking snowstorm, pregnant. Trust me, I'm not exactly a fan of how late I was, but yeah, it just. Me too. She's a self-centered judgment, the ungrateful bride. That's exactly how she's acting. That's exactly how she's fucking acting. This, like I said, you have barely fucking lived. You have barely lived, girl. And you want to sit there and be so judgmental towards a woman who is twice your age with the life experiences that she's had. And she even sat there and said, I raised you, I educated you, I fed you. You turned out to be a pretty damn fine person for the most part. And you have the audacity to sit there and come at her like that? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Now, a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have bothered to talk about Trina. I'm doing good, Black Mind, except for me being slightly annoyed that I was more later than I should have because my fucking headphone wasn't working. Other than that, I'm actually doing pretty good. Thank you for asking, Black Mind. I hope you had a good day. I had actually a good day. Actually had a good day. I was off today. Look like we're both wrong about two things. We're wrong about what's good, Charles? Wrong about the snowstorm, and we were wrong about Taggart because you said he wouldn't be mentioned this year, but he was finally mentioned. Yes. And Jakar says I need to record reviews. You don't mind? Yeah, of course not, Jakar. Listen, I appreciate you just showing up. I appreciate you showing up, man, and I'll definitely look forward to watching your review when you put it out. So. So yeah, absolutely. Why is it not? There we go. Just 1 second. There we go. I know I heard on your story to Car City, you finally got caught up with everything. That's what's up, man. So yeah, I definitely be looking forward to watching your reviews. What's good, Annette? And all story lovers, I'm sick of Britt and Nathan. So Allison, why do you think that Jocelyn's an idiot? Sorry, Kirk says we finally heard Tagger's name. Since yeah, I would yeah about that time, Spiderquake. You're absolutely right about that time. Okay, so I'm gonna sit there and say some positive stuff about the WSB. Yes, I do, Spiderquake. I do, and yes, I still do like her storyline. It was good, Lisa, and I'll tell you why in 1 second because I actually do like her stuff. All right, but hey, listen, this is just my opinion. So, um, Ariana, I thought of you when I got my latte at 4 in the morning. Thank you, Ariana, thank you, Ariana. She's a queen. Thank you. Waking up today. Oh, tomorrow in the morning. Definitely gonna be hitting stuff. No, Dunkin' Donuts. Definitely gonna be hitting Dunkin' Donuts up. Unless everyone said what's up to Ariana, it's good to see you again. And what's good, Eagle? What do you think of the Newmans' plan to take the company back? Um, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Listen, we all knew that Victor was not going to go down without swinging, right? I think I'll be upset if he actually is able to pull it through. Like if he's actually able to somehow pull that shit through, all that's going to sit there and tell you is that yeah, they went through a bit of worry and panic for like 5 minutes, and then they're back on top again. I think that's what I will sit there and say. That's what I was sitting there and said. I'll be disappointed. Okay, so here's my thing with Jocelyn. Okay, so I know some people don't like the WSP story and all that other stuff. Let me tell you what I actually liked about it. Okay, she went in there with yeah, granted, yeah, she went in there with no backup or whatever, right? But then she heard something and she hid. She saw Russ, right? Now she can't go back to the main island because the launches and stuff like that are not there. So she decided to improvise and just be a civilian and be like, hey, listen, I'm here to sit there and see Lucas or whatever. So I like the fact that she was very quick on her feet. Was good, Dolomitics. I like the fact that she was very quick on her feet. She didn't panic, and because at the end of the day, it's like, well, what else was she gonna do? Like what else is she gonna do? Yeah, the dude is there and she knows who he is, but she can't do anything now, right? So like she's not gonna be outside throughout the entire time freezing her ass off. So I give her props for her being able to sit there and think on her feet. I wish oh I'm sorry to hear that, Lisa. I wish it was back in the 80s in a sense because that's when they had the budget to do location stories. Like all the adventure stuff that like Anna and Robert and Luke and Laura and stuff like that were able to do. Jocelyn doesn't have that because the show doesn't have the budget. So she can't really go on location shoots and do all that WSB stuff that would actually be pretty interesting, um, like they did. Days of Our Lives have this current storyline of bringing people back from the dead, and then Steph and Alex on board with the Stalker story. Can we end it? I feel like it was good, Krista. I feel like we're going to have to bear and grin it in a sense, right? Because like this entire time, she could have snuck around and went upstairs or in the basement. Well, she could have did that, right? She could have did that. But she could have also just got caught doing that. You know, like it's not a foolproof plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, she could sit there and hide out, but she doesn't know how many people is actually in there. She assumed that no one was there. Then she finds out somebody's there. So hiding isn't a lasting plan, especially when you don't know. Well, if there's one person, how many people is actually there? And we know that I think there's more than one person that's there. So it makes more sense for her to sit there and be there under the jest of, oh, I'm there, sitting there looking for my uncle Lucas or whatever. You know, listen, this was never a foolproof plan. This is never a foolproof plan. As far as her going there when Jack told her not to, we all was like, all right, come on, girl, this is stupid. But hell, you're already there. You gotta sit there and think on your feet and do something. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but here's the thing. I like Dimitri. I like Dimitri more than Javi. I like Dimitri more than Javi. I find Dimitri to be very interesting. Domex is the frustrating thing with Days is they keep the reveal to their stories under wraps for nearly a year, and right before they get to the end, they reveal the surprise. It's not just normally a okay. Well, fine, Quite. That's your opinion. That's cool. What they say, they can't make everyone happy. So, but like I said, Spider, I personally, I'm loving it. Um, I'm loving the Jocelyn stuff. Like I know who the stalker is because of the press release. Oh, and it says as soon as Jack said no, you knew she was ready on the boat to spot. Yeah, exactly. In her mind, she was already like, "Yep, all right, just I'm gonna get there." I said this yesterday, but I was like, I'm the fact that Brick didn't say anything to Jason and Sunny that like Jocelyn is going to cut off the power to Spoon Island, knowing who lives on Spoon Island and not saying anything to those two. Same thing happened with Peter as the Dimitri kid. Oh, okay. I guess me, I'm a little lucky because I didn't like catch wind of any of that. But what's good, Darby? They make good progress by firing Chanel, Johnny, Tate, and yeah, Holly. Exactly, Lisa. So that's what I was like, listen, I know a lot of people don't like the whole. I know there are people that don't like the WSB stuff and Jocelyn and all that other stuff. And that's cool, right? So, you know, but like I said, I personally, I'm enjoying it. No, I'm not. Here's the thing with this whole Mariah story. Thank you so much, um, Ariana. Thank you. No, it was fun. I wish I would have did it a little bit more sooner. I don't like cutting it that close late, but like I really had to start off with Trina. I really had to start off with Trina. Good question, Darby. But I like to take my time with G stuff because they just have so much stuff going on. Like think about today's episode. They had the whole Tracy and Marty. They had Emma and Gio, which did nothing for the show. Like Quick says, how do you feel about Kate yesterday and today? Oh, you agree with Trina today? That she's so annoying and selfish and wants everybody to go her way. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the fact that she was sitting there acting like a mini Karen today. You know, like it was really annoying. She was like, "Oh my god." Yeah, here's the thing. I'm not gonna sit there and say like, well, let me put it this way. I'm pretty sure she felt some sort of way with her own boyfriend was sitting there looking at Nicole. Because let's be honest, Nicole can sit there and turn heads on a bad day compared to Kevin. Okay. But like she was being all like super judgmental, like, oh, this isn't like Nicole, this isn't like my mom, my mom doesn't do stuff like this, that, and the third. It's like, girl, shut up. Stop minding her goddamn business. Don't you have business of your own to mind? Man, your review. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just like that's my takeaway. Is like you sit there, you look at the character like, girl, you're barely 21. Your mom has lived twice as long as you. She's fucking human. And yeah, she's made. I get where Trina's coming from to a certain extent because it's like this is the second time that she's done something like this. Is a pattern, and I understand that to be disappointed to some extent, but I'm like, she came here in a snowstorm, and she's pregnant, and this is how you're gonna sit there and choose to treat her. What's good, man? It just comes across like you're 1 second, but it just comes across as just being very ungrateful. She was like, "Yo, listen, I raised you and stuff. Like, what are you doing?" Trina's getting a statue right by Elizabeth. Exactly. What's good, Jay Blue? Um, I feel like it's a little selfish, honest. You know, I felt like it was kind of interesting to some extent, Spider Quake. Not when Bill was talking to Thomas, and he was like, the reason why he fell out of love with her is because she stopped pushing him, in a sense, right? He was like, Danny knew that I was lying, and she just let me get away with it. And essentially, he was like, he got tired of her being so soft and so easy on him. And listen, that's a real thing for some people. Um, Listen, I personally think that Haley looks better than than Danny. I'm like, bro, you fake like you went to sleep just there. You don't have to sit there and sleep with your wife because you want to think about Danny all night. Like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? I also think that it's a bit selfish, a little bit, that Bill kind of pulls her in, knowing that he treated her so terribly. So, like, that's my thoughts on that. Chelsea needs to seek a therapist. Chelsea, actually, to tell you the truth, yeah, you're right. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. I remember you thought Bill left because Danny was annoying based on her. Yes, and initially I did, but like I do think that that's actually a real thing now. Like that she became a pushover, and he fell in love with a woman who challenged him. You know, and she stopped being the person that he fell in love with. Also, I would sit there and say this much too. Your character Hugo is a person that I would like. Like as far as like the soap people so far that you've made, Hugo is a person that I would fucking like. I was like, I can tell you right now that Hugo will be a character that would be my favorite. Because I have this thing for the asshole characters that has like a the Power Man complex. What's good, G Mama? J Blue says, is Marco feeling guilty for not responding to his so-called mom by trying to kill some? Yeah, I would sit there and say that. Yeah, what's good, Jarrett? Will and Dylan seem a much better match. Dylan is kind of a fucking snake in a sense. Um, I feel like Electra is kind of overreacting, but like the girl ain't sitting there making us feel wrong about Electra's choice to be on the defense. John Max says, I'm glad you like it. I love writing for Hugo. I got a scene that I wrote for him, and yeah, Hugo. I was like, I mean, granted, I was sitting there reading through all the different characters and their profiles and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I was like, Hugo's gonna be my fucking character. But I think you probably knew that like other older characters that were probably like Hugo the best. I mean, I want to sit there and kind of reread through um some of the other people, but Hugo stands out. Dakar says, "How do you feel about Charlotte?" Um, I understand where she's coming from, but I do feel like she's kind of a shitty daughter in a sense to Lulu. You know, she knows that there's a storm that's coming, and she sent her on a wild goose chase because she has to go sit there and talk to her dad. Which I'm like, you could have just passed on that information to Carly. I'm like, if anything was to happen to Nathan and Lulu as a result of what Charlie did, you should feel fucking totally guilty. Exactly. She's just gonna act more like a goddamn brat. Ava. Yeah, no, of course. Don't like listen. It's funny, because I saw you in Kyrie's stream. I was like, you know what? I want to sit there. I want to sit there and tell you that when you came to my stream. Well, I mean, yeah, Jakar is more like kid because honestly, to tell you, Rocco for the most part is actually pretty fucking grateful and reasonably and understanding. It's Charlotte that's the problem. Worst kid. I mean, Spike, wait, do you really think that Rocco's that bad? I mean, she only has two kids. So, like, why don't you tell me how Rocco's bad? Well, she is a WSB agent, J Lo. And thank you, Darby. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we have 39 people in the chat. Thank you. We have 39 people in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button because it really does actually help. Um, and what's good, Michelle? Brit. Rocco rather than Brit than Lulu. I don't get that sentence. As much as I love Brit, Rocco rather Brit than Lulu. I don't get that. J Blue says, question, will Carly play it cool now that Charlotte went AWOL? Huh? I mean, she kept Valentine like chill. Oh yeah, Jakar, I saw you. Why is my music not on? I saw you. That's why. I saw you and Sabrina Faith's channel. I didn't get a chance to stream yesterday because like I was busy like watching the shows. It's good. What's good, Letitia Hunter? But I saw you in there for a little bit. Actually, to tell you the truth, I saw a couple people in there. I saw you in there. I saw Susan in there. I saw Monique in there. I saw a couple of people that I know in there. I was like, oh shit. I don't know why. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why I didn't sit there and say anything. But yeah, I was like, oh shit. I was there for a little bit. I was kind of like bouncing in and out because I was watching. Um, I think I was watching like Beyond the Gates. Susan, you know it's funny. I was just there talking about you. Um, I was there saying I saw you and I saw you, Susan, and Sabrina Faith's channel. She did a live stream yesterday around 9 o'clock. I didn't get a chance to like going in. Well, I don't know why I didn't say anything, but I was kind of dipping in and out anyway. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, I was like, it is my music. The streamer Fairman called Marco a wuss. Oh, he had some other people in there too. Yes, I followed her years ago. Then she stopped for a while. Now she's back. Yeah, I've seen a couple of her streams. Every now and then I get a chance to go on there. But like I said, Susan, it was really interesting. Like like just picking out all the people that I know and stuff like that. I didn't stay too long because like I was still watching the soap operas like at 9 o'clock. Like, but it was cool being in there for a little bit though. I would sit there and say this much, Susan. I honestly tell you the truth. I hope things are going to be on an upswing for her. Like I hope things really do get better for Sabrina. Sly Quick said, "Let's see if Kyrie's goes live today. He might not since Ava didn't come on. Um, he was on yesterday. I don't know if Ava was there, but he was on. He was on yesterday. He came in around 10 o'clock. Actually, tell you the truth, I came in there for a little bit. Yeah, Susan, she seemed like she's cool people. She seemed like she's cool people that had things going on, and I give her props because she's still powering through. So, like I said, I hope this year is good for her. It's good to her. I will sit there and say, "What's good, Jonathan?" Yeah, Allison. Yeah, you were there. You were in Kyrie's stream. What's good, Tracy Staves? And that's the thing, Jay Blue. Right after that, I was like, why didn't Brick not sit there and tell um Sonny and Jason? Like, he talked about everything else except for that. Nothing's planned yet. No, Spider Quick. No, but it's still January, so um, I'd always sit there and do some. I just don't have anything planned up. But if I think of something, then why not? Danny Bear 87. Let's say what's up to Danny Bear. Johnson says so Liam helped Peter and well, allegedly, right? Like I have to sit there and say allegedly because let's be honest. Um, like they're totally fucking wrong with Jeremy. They're totally wrong with Jeremy, and they're just like, yeah, no, Jeremy totally did it. He's ambidextrous and this, that, and the third. Like, it was good, Double C. And I'm gonna answer that in 1 second. It's like I'm not gonna lie. I got so annoying. I got so annoyed with their so-called brainstorming scene and them just fucking fully assuming that like Jeremy did it. And again, Stephanie's gonna. I want that chick to get on her fucking knees when she realizes how wrong she is. Uh, Johnson says, "Do you think A will confront Liam directly?" Um, I think he wants to. I think he's going to start acting funny. I don't think he will, but I think he'll start acting funny and he'll start distancing himself from from Liam. Because that's the thing, though, Jonathan. When I saw their conversation, it's like watching two people and having a good time and just really just being there for each other, and then you know that that fall is gonna come. You know that that fall is gonna come because they were way too chummy. It was like, yeah, Um, and also, I'm a little disappointed with Abe though too, because it's like you've been a cop for way too long to not understand that like that doesn't mean that he did it. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't necessarily mean that he did it. You know, it was a wire transfer and this, that, and the third. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, Abe, in your 30, 40 something year career, have you never heard of anyone getting set up before? No, actually, we have not too, Jonathan. That's very true. DWC says, I wonder if Liam is Bo and Hope's son that was killed by Chelsea. Maybe the phone started watching, but I agree with that, Danny Graham. And like I said, Mr. Super Spy just let in a bug. So now they sit there thinking, oh, well, we got him. We're going to sit there and trap him with this fake elope story, and we're going to get the stalker there. And you're just like, he's already like fucking 10 steps ahead of you. Jakara says, do you think that Abby or Lexi was in that cryogenic pod yesterday? I don't, that's the thing though. I don't know because I don't know how EJ felt about Lexi. I don't know EJ and Lexi's relationship. Um, now, honestly, to tell you the truth, Jakars, I don't know if they would sit there and try to bring back Abby. I think, like, if they do, they better commit to it because when Kat got on the show, people were sitting there thinking that Kat was going to be the new Abby. It then turned out, nope. So I don't know. I think it'd be a bad idea if they don't go through with it this time and actually bring Abby back. I think Vivian and Gwen are working together. Oh, okay, all right, then it could be them, Jonathan. Yeah, okay. And Domex says EJ loves Lexi. She was legit his big sister. In fact, she probably the family member he was. Oh, okay, so then yeah, it's totally possible then. And Danny, you said I heard it's Lexi in the tooth. That explains Pauline's reaction when she saw whoever it is. And Vivian returns this week. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing though. Like I like here's the thing. We knew it was a woman. But I can even sit there and begin to speculate on who it was because I don't have the history that other people have for the show. Jakar says, do you think Dimitri is going to find out about Gwen's plan? I mean, it's totally possible. Gwen isn't exactly always the smartest person in certain situations, and Dimitri is pretty smart. He's pretty sharp, so I wouldn't put it past him. That's a good yes. Yeah, Susan asks, do you know who's playing Vivian? I'll leave that question to Jonathan because I have no idea. Um, I don't remember that. I don't remember the actress that actually played her now. Even though she had a villain era too, all of the mirrors adored her except Chad, who never really got to know her. Well, here's the. I'm glad that they narrowed it down. Because at one point people was sitting there thinking they were going to bring back Stephanie now, and then of course people, oh Louise, okay, um, some people thought it was going to be Stephanie now, but then it was like, you had the people that got upset and they were like, oh well, they shouldn't replace, they shouldn't recast Stefano because the actor played her and the actor played him and it's disrespectful and blah 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 blah. So, and it's funny too because when somebody said Liam, I was sitting there thinking about Bold and the Beautiful. Um, the girl says, "How do you really feel about Kat?" I feel she has potential. I feel that she has potential. Because she does have family roots there, right? Well, not bringing back Stefano, but like bringing in another actor to play Stefano. You know, she has potential. I don't hate Kat. Um, I hope that they give her some good stuff. I will sit there and say. Sean says if Jason and Britt don't happen, put him with Anna. I've been sitting there saying that shit for years. Why wouldn't it work? Well, how's Kat annoying to you? The cars. I've been sitting there saying that shit for years. Despite people who feel differently about it because of X, Y reasons, I've been saying that shit for years to put Anna with Jason. Oh, Cat. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. When you said Cat, I'm like, are you talking about Days of Our Lives Cat or Cat? Cat can be annoying and she could be over the top and she could be very fucking bratty, right? And self-centered as shit. And so I get it. She could be really nasty with Eva. But see, my whole thing was with Eva. Eva wasn't exactly fucking like a full victim. Like she slept with what you call it. She slept with Tomas, knowing that Tomas was with Kat. Got all up in Kat's face about it, and then after Tomas played her twice, her dumbass is still sitting there trying to go back out with him. Eva sat, and then Eva still sat there and tried to act like she was the fucking full victim. Um, but I did everything to sit. Even in the beginning, I did everything to sit there and try to stop her. No, you didn't, because if you did, you would have sat there and told the truth, like Kat said. So while I'm not a huge Kat fan, and Eva is probably more likable by comparison, Eva has done her fair share of shit that I feel like some people tend to forget just because Kat is over the top. I can't be upset with Eva about the Tomas thing when Kat stayed with the dude. Well, you're better than me. That's what they said. That's what people have been sitting there saying in my comment section. Um, I think Britt is an idiot for sitting there trying to go back out in the fucking thunderstorm. I'm like, what are you delaying shit for? You gonna go out in a goddamn thunderstorm and for what? Your ass is coming back there in a couple of days anyway. Yeah, her dumb ass is not they gonna go out there in a snowstorm. I was like, listen, I get you don't like sit well, but like, yeah, like you gonna go out in the sun and you gonna do that for what? Your ass is come back in a couple of days when the adjustments is made. So what the fuck are you exactly doing? I don't get that. Stefano being played by another actor wouldn't hit the same way, and plus, with so many of his children up there in age, it would be a little odd to have a somewhat younger actor take on the role. Well, okay, then they can get an older actor, right? They can get a they can get an older actor to sit there and play Stefano. Dakar says, "How do I really feel about that?" I can take him or leave him. Honestly, I can take him or leave him. I feel like that about most. I feel like that about a good portion of the characters. Like Vernon, you haven't done shit with him. Uh, I mean, I mean, Jonathan, I think that's a matter of perspective. I would sit there and say it's a matter of perspective, right? You know, because here's the thing, Jonathan. I can sit there and say that no, I haven't. I haven't, Spider Quick. Every scene with Leslie is a chore to watch. But you know, Jonathan, I would sit there and say that's level of that's a matter of perspective, right? Asa Buchanan, right? Let's say we got a fucking DeLorean, right? We went back in time and it was like, yo, listen, we gotta have to sit there and replace Asa. Now I can sit there and say that because I watch Asa, but if somebody who haven't really been watching the show as long, they can sit there and be like, hey, listen, let's replace them. Yeah, I mean, I get that. Yeah, exactly. You're talking about numbers, and I get that in a long time, Dave's fans, and I get that too. Well, hate is kind of a strong word, and I'll get to that in 1 second. But I get what you're saying, though. It's a numbers game. I'm just looking at it from like a perspective point, right? Like people can sit there and say that because they watch stuff now, so they're not going to want somebody else playing stuff now. And I can sit there and understand that because I can look at Asa. But you know, because I haven't watched Days of Long and other people, I can sit there and be like, you know, I can be like, hey, listen, let's bring on a new fucking stuff now. But no, I don't think so, Spider Quake. It's not been a character I've disliked, but then love. No, no. You know, I can you know, Spider Quake. I can look at Cat and be like, she is annoying as fuck, but her character's interesting. Her Cat's character on Beyond the Gates would never bore me. She would never bore me. Now I don't. I'm not gonna sit there and say I love her, but her character doesn't bore me. Yeah, and that's you know, listen, but and you know, Jakar, that's I respect your opinion. You know, that's how you feel, and that's totally fine. I'm different. You know, I always sit there and feel at the end of the day, it's a show, and the show must go on. You know, um, having somebody new come in and step in the role doesn't sit there and take away from what that person did. You know, yeah, exactly. Cat could be annoying, but see, I guess for me personally, like I look at Cat and I look at Leslie. Cat is annoying, but Cat is not a chore to sit there and watch a scene with her. Leslie is a chore to sit there and watch, right? I'm usually like I'll pay attention because I want to sit there and hear what's going on. Um, I would understand what's going on, but I'm usually like scrolling on my phone whenever Leslie's on. I feel the same way about Carly and Jay. She works my nerve, but I don't want the character gone because she's not boring. Yeah, exactly. Like Cat is not boring. Cat is just like Nicholas. Cat's not a lot of power, but I feel like there are a lot of more stories for Nicholas to just keep him off the screen. Yeah, exactly. And listen, that could be the same thing said about Lulu, right? Okay, well, here's the thing, Jonathan. I meant like, okay, so maybe our wires got crossed. I meant by let's sit there and say it was Stefano. Stefano. If Stefano was in that too, and they decided, all right, you know what, let's sit there. Um, if he was in the tube, then I'll be like, okay, I'll work with it. Yeah, I agree with that, Jonathan. I do. But I'm talking more about like if if he was in the tube, if he was the one that was in the tube, if Stefano was the one that was in the tube, they brought him back somehow, whatever, I'll be cool with it. That's pretty much all I'm sitting there saying. It's like what they call in wrestling go ahead heat. There are people who you tube because they're annoying you in a good way, and people you boo because you want them off your screen. Yeah. I don't get that sentence. I read that shit 3 times. I don't understand what you mean by that. How perfect is she because you be right? I have no idea what that means. Um, well, yeah, I understand that. I understand that from a story point. I understand that from a story point, Danica. I get that from a story point. I do. Oh, I don't even remember. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even remember me saying that. I said something about Lulu as far as like, I mean, as far as like recasting her, right? Like Lulu has more story, so like I'm cool to recast of Lulu. You know, that's what I meant about that. Yeah, that's what I meant about that. Like, if you have to recast, you got to recast her. Same thing with Nicholas. If you got to recast him, you got to recast him. That's what I meant by that. It took me a second because I was saying a lot. I was like, what? Yeah, you got to recast him. You got to recast him. Hmm. A T-shirt. This says, is Tracy going to kiss Marty? The coolest. Said that an unsuspected couple is going to kiss for the first time. I mean, listen, there's a thin line between love and hate. Okay, there's a thin line between love and hate. So. Nicole or Eric, for instance, can be recasted. Hmm. I mean, I get that. I don't know. I just, like I said, I think it's a matter of perspective and it's a matter of numbers. Um, if they give him a good story, Jonathan, so far they haven't given him a good story. Like, listen, I mean, I'm not feeling this whole Nicole is bouncing between Carlton and practically Lucky fucking Spencer, but like they haven't really given him a good story. Like honestly, tell you the truth, I literally forgot about fucking Carl. I mean Kyle. Like they need to give him a good story if he's going to matter on the long term. That's my thing. The storyline that they have so far is nothing. You know. Um, yeah, I'm okay. You know who else is also yes. Sean, I will sit there and see you Friday. Tomorrow I'm not going to be streaming. But I'll see you Friday. Yes, Friday I will definitely be seeing you. Um, Vanessa from Beyond the Gates is another character who scenes are a chore to watch. Yes, I will sit there and see you Friday, Sean. Yeah. Oh shit, Queen Jess is in the chat. What's good, Jess? All right, Jakaris, you have a great night, and I'll definitely sit there and check out your video before I go to sleep tonight. Um, what was I about to sit there and say? Vanessa, because Vanessa is a fucking dumb. Okay, Beyond the Gates, Vanessa is a fucking dumbass, right? How you gonna sit there and get? How you gonna sit there and have this man get in your face, and then sit there and start talking about how his sex game is bad? Because I'm like, girl, even if it is bad, that's not something you should be sitting there saying. You thought he was just gonna what take that shit like a fucking champ and be like, oh, you're totally right, Vanessa. I need to sit there and improve my skills in the bedroom. I guess I'll sit there and go now. Like, I don't understand. Like, yep, Nicole Walker. But I heard they're on the outs now. Who the fuck knows? Um, and here's the thing: I knew, I knew that Vanessa was going to sit there and try to give Joey a bit of shit because she has this quote unquote boss girl attitude where she's like, oh, I can handle it. I can handle like these clients and stuff like that. I was like, girl, the only reason why you handled it was because Randy came in there and had to sit there and set this dude straight. Like like this chick just don't have a fucking functioning brain. Well, yeah, Spike, right? She doesn't have a functioning brain. And just like lacks self awareness, like there's no tomorrow. It's like it's amazing you've made it to the age that you made it to on this planet. Like, I mean, dead ass serious. Like, how many fucking guardian angels does this woman have? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, okay. You know what? Listen, since we're on Nicole from Days of Our Lives, since I have to put like names, since there's like doubles of almost everything. My days of our last would my would y'all would my Days of Our Lives fans be cool with a recast of Nicole? Yeah, Vanessa has a headache. I don't know how Joey deal with her. Well, come on, Jeff. Like we know how Joey is able to sit there and deal with Vanessa. Now he may sit there and try to be like, oh well, she's smart and she's brilliant and she's feisty. Let's be honest, bro. All that shit would not sit there and matter if she didn't look good enough for you to sit there and be with on a sexual level. So let's not sit there and try to act like we don't know how he deals with her. Yes, and honestly, listen, I'm cool with that, Jonathan. Yeah, it was a good call, Jonathan. Okay, all right, yeah, Dolmax, that'd be cool. I mean, it's kind. I'm not gonna lie, Jess. It's kind of it's it's kind of a fatal flaw, and in most men, how we put up with difficult women. Uh, I would sit there and say Nicole. Listen, I mean, I'm gonna put Haley up there first because obvious reasons, but after Haley, Nicole. I'm gonna sit there and tell you right now that the actress that plays Nicole should not sit there and come on General Hospital because um the actress that plays Nicole could looks wise can outshine every fucking woman on General Hospital. Oh, okay, Ruth. That's cool. Well, I respect your opinion, Ruth. Oh, speaking of fucking vapid people, Chelsea. Yeah, thank you, Jess. I was about to sit there and say that Chelsea and fucking Madison. This is one of those couples where it's like their their opposites are really don't attract. Chelsea was like, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna sit there and be pill popping some time and dancing and having a good time, and I don't need you to sit there and constantly give me shit about that. You just need to let me just be me." I'm like, "Do you not know who you're dating?" Madison was the first person who was like, listen, we are two very different people. Chelsea, being the vapid airhead that she is, she's like, well, that could be a good thing. I was like, that could be a good thing, but in your case, it's not a good thing. It's a bad thing. This like y'all two do not need to fucking be together. They got into a relationship super quick and didn't even know each other. They got together because of their looks. And yeah, Jess, I agree with everything you said. They got together because of their looks. They didn't get together because of anything else. I mean, again, I'm not saying that they're trying to down or play anybody, but like how and I'm not saying that they're saying that an influencer can be with a doctor, but like, you know, there was there was one point where Chelsea was like, "Well, I got to be on my phone. I got to sit there and not let the algorithm like escape me." And Chelsea deals with life and death situations, and you have your girlfriends that they're talking about a fucking algorithm. Like what? Did I miss something here? How do you have a doctor sit there and go out with somebody that's talking about, well, if I don't post anything, then the algorithm's going to escape me. It's going to be much more harder for me to sit there and get back on track. It's like, she's not there, like, dealing with diagnosis and, like, the human body and how people are going to react. And you're not there talking about tagging people for, like, making them feel better and brighten up their day and doing something for their business. Like, y'all two are on completely different fucking levels. Danny Bear, that shit should have ended fucking fast. She is a doctor, she is a medicine woman, and she just sat there and watched you pop some fucking pills. Like, what? Exactly, Dolomitics. Just says right, they are very different. Chelsea is very immature and has some growing up to do. Fast. Let's get married. What the fuck? Johnson says they should bring Eric and Nicole back and do a potential Paul Mendes return story. Paul Mendes that died, right? Well, yeah, and that's my thing, Spider Quake. I said this a couple. Well, I don't know when I said this, but I'm like, yo, listen, if you were sitting there dating fucking Allison, Allison is down for anything. Like, I don't understand. Um, that's why I was like, dead Paul Mendes, right? The guy that we spent 5 weeks in there watching. Those are some fun 5 weeks, um, but that's the thing, Spike Quick. I was like, yo, listen, you want to sit there and do you, that's totally fine. You just can't be with somebody who is straight laced and who you're going to feel like is monitoring you. You sat there and said, and that's my whole other thing. Like, she sat there and tried to fucking practically blame her. Um, she practically tried to blame her, talking about, well, I have to be a different person when I'm with her. I was like, well, you wouldn't have to be a different person if you weren't fucking with her then. And again, it goes beyond their professions, but it's like y'all two just never fucking worked out. Listen, there are some people where opposites attract. She ain't fucking, and no, Spike Way, she don't need to sit there and drop the charges on deranged ass fucking Alice. And there are other women that she can be with. What's good, Queen of the South? It's good to see you. No, she don't need to be dropping no charges on that. You know, I could say much worse of things, and I'm not going to, despite me drinking this alcohol. But no, right? She don't need to. Like, that's what I was like. I didn't. I had to sit there and kind of was like, no, 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 no. We don't need to bring back fucking Allison. And why does Kat care what her mother's doing? She needs a life. That's the thing though, Jess. Right? Like, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes, like, when somebody's life sucks, they have to sit there and start concentrating on other things, right? I think sometimes, like, Kat is self-aware enough to realize that she's kind of a shitty person, and rather than dealing with those shitty ass traits, she'd rather sit there and spend time hating um, Eva and whining and complaining about what her mom is wearing. Which, I'm not gonna lie, part of you is like, listen, I like to sit. I'm not the type of person that's sitting there saying that, like, Kat is hating, because I find that shit just be annoying. But I'm like, Kat, your boyfriend is not there looking at your mom like she's a snack. You might want to sit there and step up your game a little bit. I mean, well, you're leading a lot of plastic surgery for that, but, like, I feel like that was a huge fucking jealous moment. I'm not gonna lie. I can't. I just can't. And granted, that's the interesting stuff that's going on in Beyond the Gates, right? Um, I don't give a shit about this. I'm not gonna lie, this fucking cancer story is like I can't with it. I can't because it's like if it's not Anita and Vernon, then it's fucking Danny. Sometimes I'm glad that she switched the conversation to anything else. What's good to have, Lynn? Yep, Anita and Vernon are boring. They're boring, but it's also just fucking sad. And that's the thing, just like I was sitting there watching Kyrie's. He was like, listen, I watch soap operas to take a break from reality, right? Like I don't I feel like every time I sit there and watch that part with the whole cancer stuff, it's like I need to balance out my mood by sitting there watching Family Guy. Like Jesus fucking Christ. It's funny thing though, Max. On some real level shit, I can totally see that happening. Um, but listen, she's the type of I'm not gonna lie, she's the type of woman that can dress conservative and still be bad. Um, so when she does dress bad, people's heads are gonna sit there and turn. Um, yeah, listen, it's just like it just gets to a point where, like I said, it just gets fucking depressing. It's like, okay, okay, okay. Like, here's the thing: I don't like sitting there watching a soap opera when I'm looking at my goddamn phone. I'm just tired of Vernon doing nothing but kissing her ass and her chilling at the house. Yeah, huh, very good observation. Yeah, like I couldn't have said it better myself. Johnson says that's why Beyond the Gates needs to introduce my creation, the Dumas family, like I mentioned on Sunday. Yes. Well, people that don't, well, yeah. For people that don't know, Jonathan created a very interesting storyline. I kind of brought something to the table too, but Jonathan brought in a very good storyline when they introduce another family to sit there and go head to head with um the Duprees. I don't know why I fucking forgot that. Double C says I watched soap to enjoy the stories, but lately not a while. It's been a hit and miss. Yeah, no, and I get that. Honestly, tell you the truth, that's a good thing. That's a good thing, Allison. It is. It's like a question also. What is Kyrie's doing? Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm about to hit y'all with some wild shit in a minute. Hold on. But no, but I totally get that though. So annoying. Hold on. And Josh is getting on my nerves. You know, it's actually funny. I'm not gonna lie, Jess. This is where you know the tables have actually turned. Here's the thing. I was actually giving Joss her props today. I was giving Joss her props today on her fucking ingenuity. No, hold on. Where the fuck is my video at? Because she was able to sit there and think on her feet. And like, why the fuck didn't that show up then? She was able to sit there and think on her feet. Listen, we all know it was stupid that she went to that island by herself, despite what Jack said, right? Because listen, Jocelyn gonna do what Jocelyn gonna do. But like Letitia says, I like Ashley and Grayson. Think on her feet. That's a good plan too. It's not a good plan. It's not a plan. It's improvising. Listen, here's the thing. She's in the house with that dangerous man by herself. Well, what was she gonna do? The idea was to go down there, right? Oh, that's where I fucked up. The idea was to go down there, to search through the house and everything like that, you know, despite what Jack told her not to do. You know, Jocelyn gonna do what Jocelyn wants to do. But she got there, she realized somebody was there. She couldn't go back to the main island. Um, and she ain't gonna be out there freezing. So she was like, you know what? Listen, my uncle Lucas is there. I can sit there and play it off like I came there to see my uncle Lucas. That story was wild that she told him like why she was actually like out in the storm in the first place. But to be honest, there's these stupid things called fucking TikTok challenges. So that's not fully it's not fully unbelievable. Like I said, I give her it was stupid to go there. But we know how Jocelyn is. So I just give her props for thinking on her feet. Johnson says, what do you think will happen when Carly finally confronts Brennan about recruiting Joss to the WSB? Give a lecture, be all upset and pissed off. Um, you put my daughter in danger, blah, 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 blah. I think that's what's going to end up happening. It was stupid. Damn, Joss. Like I said, tables have turned. So when I went to go get breakfast this morning, you know, I don't know why, but I was sitting there thinking about when you wrote that. I said something about Jocelyn. I said something about Eda McCoy winning an award, and you didn't like it. And you were going to curse me out. Then you decided not to. So like you were this huge like Eda McCoy fan, Jocelyn fan, and now, yeah. But like, I feel like that's what's going to wind up happening. She's going to give him this whole lecture and be like, "You put my daughter in danger. You never really loved me." Like she wants to sit there and unload all of the anger and frustration that Jack supposedly gave her. I'm not gonna lie. This is where I'm so perplexed, Jonathan, because like Dylan, you're the fucking snake. Ivory, what the fuck what was first of all, she needs to find another word other than it's improper, right? She keeps saying like, well, I don't like the fact that Dylan is not there living with Will. Oh, okay, Ivory, what's your plan? Are you gonna sit there and give her money for a hotel until she's able to get back on her feet? Because it's not like she doesn't know the story, right? Now her that's the thing, her catching those two in a very close intimate moment is like, well, now you got the confirmation that you needed, right? Because honestly, tell you the truth, I did feel like Electra was kind of like overdoing it a little bit. You need to stay in the main house. I can't believe you had dinner with him. It was fucking dinner. Like part of it was like, how insecure are you? Let me tell you something about Will. Will comes across as a person who's like very chill, very relaxed, laid back, wants to have some fun or whatever. I feel like that would start to get on Will's damn nerves after a while. That's my thing, Jonathan. It will start to get on her fucking nerves. Um, I mean, it will start to get on his nerves. But I'm also just like, even though those instances was like, all right, girl, you overreacting, she got to sit there and have a close moment. So it's like, she overreacting, but clearly she's not fucking wrong. But I feel like those instances by himself would just be something like, all right, girl, how about you relax? Exactly, Double C. She gonna sit there and start reading him for fucking filth in a sense. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, okay, so like this is not my video. Oh, fuck me, where are we? So yeah, this is not my video, but I thought this video was kind of funny in this weird sort of way. So I'll play it and y'all let me know.
But I didn't stab her. She just ran into my knife.
That's enough. I sentence you to 10 trillion years in the Diddy room.
Let's go, sir. Wait, what? No, I don't want to be Diddy. No!
I sentence you to 10 trillion years in the Diddy room? What the fuck? I gotta sit. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Is that? I'm like, what? Hold on.
But I didn't stab her. She just ran into my knife.
That's enough. I sentence you to 10 trillion years in the Diddy room.
Let's go, sir. Wait, what? No, I don't want to be Diddy. No!
I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of an out of pocket joke, but like, still, 10 trillion years in the Diddy room? Jesus fucking Christ. Exactly, Danny Bear. The fucking Diddy room. That's probably like the worst punishment you can give anybody, ever. Ever since what the F? Exactly. Danny Bear, that's like the ultimate punishment. Anything can happen in that room. Sentence that sentence that man at fucking 10 trillion. Exactly, double C. I was like, yo, I saw that fucking video when I was at there making my videos. Like, yo, that shit is fucking wild. They have other videos too, but like, that was like the funniest shit that I saw on there. Now, Danny Beer says Ivory is an instigator, making Electra feel threatened by Dylan and not trusting Will. Ivory just mad she doesn't have a man. I'm not gonna lie, you are onto something. Now Johnson says, do you think RJ and Electra will be a thing? Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because here's the thing. Besides, I'm not gonna lie, RJ is coming across as RJ Mrs. Stereo Girl. Um, and let's be real, Jonathan. You saw how Lecter Smith there looking at RJ. So we're not going to sit there and act like there's not a fucking attraction between those two. There is definitely something there. And so the next generation of triangle, yep, exactly, and the rivalry between RJ and Will, right? But honestly, to tell you the truth, the old generation is really starting to get kind of. Michelle is a big fan of Steve B, who plays Jason. Yeah, and you also think that Chase is the best actor on General Hospital, right? Well, matter of perspective. Um, they're not blood. I know I keep saying that, but that's just my opinion. Um, let's see. I know. I read your comments, Michelle. Danny says Ivy always sounds like she's trying to make Electra feel bad for being happy, second guessing her. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yes, she was doing that shit a lot, especially when like he was sitting there trying to get Electra to forgive. Um, when he was trying to, when he was trying, when Will was sitting there trying to get Electra to forgive him for being fucking raped. Um, Ivy was like, but what about the fact that he lied to you? I mean, he betrayed you. He betrayed your trust. It was like, God damn, girl, aren't you like really? Like that was a whole that was a whole 20 goddamn minutes of her sitting there constantly sitting there saying, are you sure you're ready to sit there and forgive him? I mean, I like Will and all, but like he did sit there and lie to you. He did sit there and like, girl. And then also, I could have swore that, and what's good, LaShawn? I could have swore that this chick was sick, but yet her busybody ass wasn't sick enough to get her ass out of bed to go over there to check on Will and Electra because she kept, I mean, Will and Dylan because she kept saying, this is improper. When RJ told Brooke, we are not related, they just kept that line in the script so many times since RJ came back. That's true. That's, yes, very true, Susan. Yeah. Exactly, Danny Bear said. You know, not that I'm trying to take the chat in a different direction because I can clearly do both. But like, here's the thing: I still stand by what Chase said. Like, I still stand by um Chase because Chase is fucking loyal, and Chase felt like, hey, listen, Willow's getting a raw fucking deal. Now, yeah, and me and Jonathan talked about this weekend. Chase don't know that Willow really did sit there and do it. The audience knows. So yeah, the audience is gonna sit there and feel a little bit different about Chase. Yeah, the audience sit there and think that Chase is a fool because we know that like she actually did it, but he doesn't know that. But Chase, she's a friend. He felt like they rushed to judgment with Willow. Michael was also a suspect. He also had motive to sit there and do what he did to shoot Drew. Dante was protecting Michael on a subconscious level. And yeah, he's gonna feel stupid. But you know what? Here's the thing though, like that's human. Listen, we don't always sit there and make smart decisions, but we make the best decisions in those moments. I'm not gonna lie, and that's the thing, Susan. Like Carter is this is why people online listening to this saying like Carter is so fucking desperate. And here's the thing. I get his level of desperation. I don't understand why Daphne just entertained the idea and said, yeah, sure, I will marry you. Or you about to sit there and go to fucking Paris, and because he decided to pull out a ring and said, I want to marry you, you said, okay, cool, we'll just get married. Like, on Michael and Dante, the only thing he was wrong about is Willow being innocent, but Chase was right about Michael. And that's the thing, Spiker, yes. I agree with that, Spider. Is no Newman going to leave his family again and go back to LA with Sienna? Uh, that's what he wants to do. You can tell that the family is uncomfortable as fuck. Johnson says someone made an interesting point regarding Chase being. It was mentioned that he did the same thing with Nell. He believed her innocence and he was wrong. Now she's repeating the same mistake. Well, yeah. But see, the thing is, he's repeating the same mistake, but he probably thought that Nell was actually fucking like innocent, right? He probably believed that Nell was innocent as well. Listen, you follow your heart. Sometimes it doesn't. You follow your heart and your loyalty to someone, and it doesn't always lead you in the right direction. And I get what your Smith is saying, Jonathan, that he should have learned from his mistake. But when you look at that whole thing, how can he not sit there and look at Willow and be like, you know what? Listen, I don't believe that she would sit there and do that. But I believe that Michael would, since he does have a bigger motive in his eyes than Willow does. I get the whole like he's making the same mistake twice. I think you might have said that in Kyrie's stream or something, but I can see that too, right? It's really funny. Well, okay, it's not actually funny, Jonathan. Who is that dude? Okay, I'm gonna sit there and mention I'm gonna mention a name to you, and you tell me if you remember him. Jonathan, do you know a guy? I'm gonna get to that question in 1 second, Jonathan, because I have a question for you. Do you know a guy named Ricardo? He was on Power Rangers. He was the Red Ranger. And I'm gonna tell you about that scene in a hot second. But let me know if you know who that dude is. Ricardo, who played the Red Ranger. I don't remember which story he was. Trina came across as an ungrateful brat. Bottom line, she came across as an ungrateful brat. No, Wild Force. Wild Force. Let me just put it this way. Um, he he was charged with allegedly killing someone with a sword, which is kind of ironic because he's a Power Ranger. But like, his version, he was like, "Hey, listen, this was self-defense." His sister was like, "No, this was yes, exactly, Jonathan." He claimed self-defense. The sister of the guy who wound up getting killed claimed that the dude was crazy and he did that shit on purpose. Right? I don't know what I don't know because I watched it this morning before I went to go get breakfast for some odd reason. Um, yeah, you're actually correct. Yes, Jonathan, he was on Papa Rage Samurai. But you look at that. I don't know why. I don't know why it made me think about General Hospital, but it made me think about public opinion, right? Like, Grant, yes, we know that Willow is the one that shot Drew. We know that because we're the fucking audience, right? And I think that's what's making people being like, well, Chase is stupid because, Willow actually did it. And it's like, well, we know that because we're the fucking audience. Like, imagine us being an audience in if he actually did do it. Yes, double C, yes. Yes. Imagine if we were the audience and we actually knew that he did it, right? Because then we can sit there and be like, okay, well, you know what? The sister was right. You actually did do it. But we're hearing his side and we're not there hearing the sister side. I don't know why. I don't know why, but it just made me like think about that. when I'm sitting there, watching this whole Justine and Alexis and everything like that. Just as it would be fun if he did investigate and found info on Michael, but no, he is only dead set on Michael and no evidence. So nah, I can't agree with him. Well, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. You have a point. And I think that's the whole thing though, right? Like there's many different sides you can sit there and look at the whole chase thing, right? Just makes a valid point. I feel like I make a valid point too. There's like that's the part like well, it's not the problem, but like that's the thing that's actually fun about these soap operas is that there's no right answer, you know. I just feel that most of the people that like, dislike Chase and are sitting there saying that he's an idiot, it's very easy to sit there and say that when you are the audience and you already know that Willow did it, you know? And everyone so far have sat there and said, well, Chase is gonna feel like an idiot when he finds out the truth. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that he was necessarily wrong. Well, he found evidence that he was lying. Yeah, now, and granted, I knew that. Like, I knew that, and it was shown that Willow lied too. Yeah, that is correct. That is actually correct. Oh, Jasper Jacks, aka Ingo Rudemaker, who, for me personally, kind of sucks that he is he is never coming back to the show. Well, he's most likely not going to come back to the show. Susan says even if Chase didn't know for sure Willow didn't do it, he has a wife and should have distanced himself instead of getting demoted. Well, he's only wrong about Willow because the audience knows. Yeah, that's true. That's true. They can listen. I'll be okay with a recast. I'll be totally fine with a recast. Like that is, as I said with Steve, the show has to go on. So, oh, and also, shout out to Danny Bear. Um, you suggested a character for us to sit there and watch. Richie Novak, All My Children, Richie Novak, aka Billy Miller, before he got to General Hospital. Okay, Johnson says, but the fact is he's wrong about Willow. The fact is he's wrong about Willow because we know he's wrong about Willow. But from a show perspective, they don't know that. We know that, but they don't know that. So, like, he's wrong, but in his eyes, he thinks that he's right because he doesn't know the truth. Is Miss Dillon Sheila Carter's daughter, Diane? I don't think so because she got her own set of parents that she should probably be going back home to instead of this whole, like, you know. Susan says, I just mean, even if we don't know, would still think Chase was being too much for them. I respect your opinion. Oh, Double C, I know she would. Okay, you know what the sad part is? You know what the sad part is, Double C? She would freak out, but he wouldn't. He would sit there and be respectful. She would sit there and be out of pocket. Well, how could she not? Okay, how could she not be okay with what he's doing? She hasn't sat there and said, "Hey, listen, Brooklyn, just to let you know, I want to sit there and fuck Willow." Oh yeah, no, they're definitely filler. Um, I almost kind of fucking forgot to talk about them in my review today, but like, how could she not be okay? Like that would be a certain level of insecurity. Or think about the conversations that. Hey, I think I need another drink. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, another drink is exactly what the fuck I need. Yes, insecurity. That's right. Oh, why can't Jonathan? It'll be fun. Insecurity. Okay. No, Jess. More now, Jess. You know, I have a higher tolerance than you. Let's not play that game, Jess. No, insecurity. Okay. Think about the conversations. Here's the thing: Chase literally explained himself to Brooklyn, and Brooklyn was like, listen, you're loyal, and that's one of the things I love about you. Unless he actually said any words of, listen, I'm not gonna lie, Brooklyn's been looking a little kind of good, or any sort of one of those suggestions. Yes, there's a certain level of insecurity. All he's doing is that they're trying to prove that Willow is innocent. He's a person that's about justice. He doesn't feel that justice is being served in the right way. I mean, if listen, the flowers is more as a like, you know, you won, you beat the charges. I mean, it's not exactly the best look, but like again, where's Brooklyn's flowers? I'm not gonna lie. If she actually sat there and said, "Where's my flowers?" I would sit there and say, insecure. The man got demoted because of his obsession of trying to prove Willow's innocent. Why is he going so hard about it? Why is he risking his job over his ex? He's not risking his job over his ex. He's risking his job over a level of injustice. A lot of women would not let any of that slide. More than a lot of those women would not be for Chase. That's clearly a level of insecurity. Um, But again, he's not obsessing over Willow. He's obsessing over a level of injustice. No, no, Susan, I'm not talking about you. Okay, Susan, I'm trying to be on your good side. I'm. That's not towards you. Um, no, he's lit. This is about just he. Oh my god, I feel like people don't pay attention to the show. He literally sat there and said, like, I have a problem with injustice. He felt like they rushed to judgment. Oh, Spiderquake, you have much to learn. Um, I'm just saying, like, there would be a level. Listen, I always let me put it this way. Okay, first of all, Jess, I will always rock with you, even when we disagree. And by disagree, I mean like when you're wrong. But I'm just listen. I rock with Jess. I respect her and her opinions, even when they're different from mine. Okay. Seriously, okay. I could have swore you were there. I was also thinking about this when I was when I was gonna go get my breakfast. Only the members was there. This was a 3 hour. This was a 3 hour stream. Okay? I'm not gonna sit there and talk about the whole thing because I don't think it needs to be talked about. But like, this was a 3 hour stream when we had our local celebrity had a rather unpleasant uh, conflict with our. Uh, I don't know why I'm bringing this up. I think it's just because I actually saw. Maybe I should stop talking. But I saw. Where am I going with this? A wax shave would be an idea of torture for Willow to use on Drew. Oh, okay. You are there. Okay. This one sit there and say like I rock with jazz. You're there. Okay. I think just because I wound up seeing like random clips of like his movies. Um, it made me think about that stream. Oof, that was a night. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, how would that work though? Right? Like, would it really hurt if I can't sit there and like scream and yell or anything like that? Like, I don't know how that would work. Right? Yes, it was Spider-Quake. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know what made me think about that. Except for I think a couple of days ago, I was watching like random clips of like movies he was in. And I was also sitting there thinking about how Jess was going to curse me out, but decided not to curse me out. No, no, no. We cool with Spider-Quake. But oh Lord. But that's another thing, Allison. It's like let's then say like, well, how would he feel anything? Like you have what do they call it? Like locked in syndrome. When what? Oh, remember I was sitting there talking shit about Eda McCoy and how I felt like her win against a bunch of children. Like she was in the young category against like an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old. And I was like, come on, girl. Like seriously, they just kind of fucking gave that shit to you. And you were not happy with me. Oh Lord, you were not. And you're gonna sit there and like curse me out or whatever. And you was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do that. And you said, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you decided to say something nice about so yeah. So yeah, and then the whole other thing. That was that was definitely one of those streams that just went off the fucking rails. Like like a fuck parted roller coaster just went off the goddamn rails. But, oh, that I'm not gonna lie. Okay, Laguna Beach. That's what I don't know. Yeah, I do remember Laguna Beach. I didn't watch it at the time. Uh, the the argument that you had with a local celebrity. Remember that one? Like, it was bad. I mean, truth be told, just like even if it was somebody else and like that person was coming at them, I still would have sat there and sided. Like I still would have sided with somebody else. Like I would have sided with my subscriber. But like I just remember that just being like, hmm, like that video needed to be erased. Like fucking history. Oh shit, I haven't seen you in a hot minute. What's good, LaShanta? I have Letitia. Well, I keep fucking up her name with your name. God damn, it's been like months. Yeah, yeah, he did it. It just, that was a tough one though, Jess. I'm gonna be honest, like, but like, and I'm gonna be honest, Jess. Like, even if it wasn't you and it was somebody else that he came at, I still would have sat there and like sided with them. But I also understood his point of view though too. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what made me sit there and think about that this morning because like I practically only walked across the street, so I don't understand why I had all that time to sit there and think about all that shit. But like, I think that shit. It's funny, Jess. That shit was like about like 3 years ago. It must have been a year, at least a good 2.5 years ago. At least a good 2.5 years ago. That's the part that's crazy for me, Jess. It's not just like that instant, but that time period. Just he had a point of view. He had no point of view. We were laughing and joking, and he got in his feelings. There's no point of view. I'm calling the woman out of. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That's why I had to be like, yeah. That's why I was like, yeah, I'm siding with Jess on that one. Like, Jess, like, I hate to saying it's like, Jess, I love you, but like, you didn't help. Like that's all I'm gonna sit there and say. You didn't help. Like ultimately, like yeah, Jess, I did side with you because like I don't think anybody should be sent there being called all that. Okay, like I was gonna set this. Yeah, and listen, I, it was a little bit of a conundrum. Not gonna lie. Like, do I side with you? Do I side with a GH, celebrity? Why am I siding with you? It didn't help, but I do stand by where I sided with. Did you go to a? Yeah, I did. LaShanta, I put it up. Yeah, definitely get a chance to watch. It's actually not that long. Yes, I did. I did do my GH recap. He got out of hand, but I never called him out his name. That's just the part that I can't give it. No, I get that. I get that. Again, just that's why I said like that's why I sided with you. That's like that's why I sided with you. Here's the thing though, Jonathan. Like, I understand why she's leaving. I don't believe why she's leaving, like the Demare Mansion. She's like, no, listen, I can't sit there. You know, I'm surprised that Johnny asked his family to sit there and come to Stefano's funeral. Like, you know damn well what Stefano actually put these people through, and you want them to sit there and go to his funeral? Yeah, like I said, I'm glad everything worked out. It's just like, again, I don't, I think it was just like randomly, I started seeing all these recommendations of like his movies and stuff. Like movies he's done and everything like that. And then I just remembered it this morning. I was like, wow. But yeah, fun times, Jess. I am sorry that you had to sit there and deal with that. Um, like I said, this is why I rock with Jess. Like, Jess is not like a delicate flower, so I know if something bothers her, it's bad. Like I said, Jonathan, I just don't understand. Like, why would you sit there and invite your family to have this little? Like, why would you sit there and do that? Like, you know damn well these people are affected by Stefano. You're gonna invite them to? Well, yeah, of course, Jonathan. Why do you? I mean, seriously, do you honestly think that like EJ would sit there and deal with Gwen for her personality? Like, you know damn well that like he don't rock with her on a regular day. It's it's like made everybody else uncomfortable. Yeah, that was the part was like, I mean, yeah, Jess, it was bad. And you're 100% correct. I just, like I said, I felt like I was caught in the middle because like I am still good friends with him, but obviously I'm good friends with you, and all those names and everything like that. I was like, all right, bro, like this is a little out of pocket. Like, I was caught in the middle, and listen, I give Kyrie's huge shout outs for him sitting there like, you know, stepping in and saying something when I was like kind of caught in the middle of that. Also, what did you think of Trina? Ungrateful, ungrateful, and judgmental. Like my issue. Here's the thing. I would sit there and see my issue with Trina is something that I think a lot of people listening there are the takeaway from it. You are judging a woman who have lived life when you're barely like fucking an adult. Like, yeah, people. Here's the thing: people fuck up when Portia was like, "Hey, listen, I raised you, I fed you, you turned out to be a good person, right? Yeah, I fucked up, right? But like, let's sit there and hope when you do something that I will still sit there and love you because you're my daughter, and that's not going to change anything." And the fact that Trina still had this deadpan look on her face, like, he was on screen. Like, he was on screen. Everybody saw it. It was bad. It was bad. You know what's funny, Jonathan? That's exactly what Spiderquake said. Spiderquake said like they haven't mentioned Taggart since 2023. I don't know if that's actually correct. Trina needs to grow up. I'm so tired of her. It's here's the thing I will sit there and say about Trina. I understand where Trina's coming from to some extent because with Portia is a pattern. Here's the thing. She pulled that same shit with Taggart, with Curtis, and now she's doing that same thing with Curtis and Isaiah. You know, like yeah, she stopped it. It was upsetting. She forgave her, and then she's right back to doing the exact same shit. No, it was definitely not a. It was definitely not a regular stream Spider Quake. It was definitely not a regular stream. Um, so I understand. I understand the pattern. I understand. Like, yo, listen, I just sat there and forgave you. I get being upset, but like, get over it. I think it's a little. I think it's a little bit more complicated than just simply getting over it. But like, I think that she needs to understand that Portia is human and people fuck up. And the thing that fucking blows me is that like as adults we do things that are right, we do things that are wrong, right? Trina, you are. I don't like the idea that you are having this young adult judge a woman that have lived life. Because life is not a straight fucking life. Life is not a sit there and not a straight arrow. I understand a certain level of fucking up and being like, ah, listen, you fucked up twice. Like, this isn't the first time that you have sat there and did this. You're not letting this go, are you, Spider Quay? Um, it was a while ago, and I don't remember. I think it might have been after, but like it was it was during the member stream. I'll sit there and say that. I think it might have been after. Yeah, I think it was definitely after. Yeah, it was after. I had to think about that. No, it was after. But like I don't like the fact that like Trina is taking this sanctimonious stance and being like you're also again like when I sit there and I look at the whole thing, this woman is pregnant. She came to you during a snowstorm. And the minute that she walked in the house, you were nothing but nasty and rude to her. You were nasty and rude to her, and you barely heard her out. And I think it's one of those things where it's like, you're on your high horse now, right? But wait till you actually start living life. You start making mistakes. You start doing things out of desperation, or you start doing things because you're scared. Now, I'm not going to sit there and try to sound like DC, where I just make excuses for people that are scared to do dumb shit. But like, you're fucking human. Yeah, Porsche. Listen, Porsche could be a fuck up, and listen. I said this, and I'm not gonna really sit there and try to hammer on this, but like, Porsche gave you a good fucking life. Porsche had to sit there and make a lot of sacrifices. You know, being a doctor, getting to that level, she had to work twice as hard to sit there, just to sit there and compete with her counterpart. Trina, you have it a lot more easier in life than Portia did. And I think that's the part that just is really annoying. You know? Like you don't understand where Portia's coming from. You don't understand the sacrifice that she had to sit there and make to make you have it. She wasn't Trina wasn't I mean, Portia was not born fucking rich. Yeah, she got money now, but that's all because of the stuff she has to sit there and work hard for. You act like, oh well, you work hard for me, like she doesn't understand that. She doesn't understand that she had to work twice as hard to sit exactly, Ariana. Like she had to work twice as hard to sit there and compete, just to compete with her counterpart. Let's be honest, her white counterpart. But she doesn't understand it. And like that's the part that just annoys the fuck out of me. Like you're very judgmental for somebody who hasn't lived life. Yeah. Um, and here's the thing. I understand that she wants to sit there and want her dad because like Valentine is still trusting Nina, but like you could have passed that message on to Carly instead of sending your mother on a wild goose chase during a fucking snowstorm. That's my issue. And I'm glad that you brought that up. Um, I'm glad that you brought that up because when Portia was there saying, listen, me and Curtis was having issues. Um, Jordan was not there sniffing around and everything like that. Michelle was acting dumb. She was acting dumb, but she was also acting irresponsible. Like it was dumb because she could have told Carly that, but it was irresponsible that you sent your mother on a wild goose chase towards a snowstorm where you know she's gonna sit there and try to look for you. Um, but my whole thing, like again, when she was like, Jordan was not there sniffing around and being off my marriage and like causing problems and stuff like that. I'm like, Trina, you're the one that sat there and was giving an attitude at at um at Jordan for that very same thing. But you want to sit there and like, right, like, why would she get up and leave? Like, I don't understand that you sat there and you're like, oh, well, mom, like Curtis and Jordan was just friends. Well, you didn't think that before because you was giving her hella attitude. So you need to understand what Portia's mind frame was when she decided to sit there and lie to her husband and all this other stuff. Like, yeah, lying is fucking bad. We all know that. But like, she didn't lie just because she was a compulsive liar. She lied because like she didn't want to cause any more problems of fiction. Because let's be honest, Jordan was out of pocket a lot of times. Oh, you called her out on that, but you want to sit there and be on your high horse now? The the writing has been bad for fucking Trina for a while. Trina has went from a character that you're just like, okay, whatever, to okay, listen, your character's good because she's making Spencer a more tolerable character. And then when Spencer left, okay, she became invisible. She was kind of just there. And then she's with Kai. Okay, well, this is kind of boring. Whatever. I don't really care about Kai. They didn't bother to invest in Kai. Kai was just there to be brung on as Trina's boyfriend. To now, we're just dealing with like bratty mood swings. And let's be honest, and I hate saying this word, but bitchy. So like, it's one of those things where it's like, This is where it's like here's the thing. On some level, I understand why people are so fierce in defending Beyond the Gates. I still think that Beyond the Gates is pretty shitty, but like I understand where people coming from defending Beyond the Gates. Johnson says, "What else could they do with Trina?" Well, I think the easy answer is to sit there and is to write her a better story. But like, honestly, tell you the truth, Jonathan, I would really have to sit there and think about that to give you like a really good answer. I know right off the rip that what they're doing for her is not working, and it's only worked up until a point when she was with Spencer. But I would have to sit there and really think about that before I give you like a really good answer. Oh, Jonathan, I need to sit there and ask you something else since you're here. Teresa, how's that coming along? Or Sunday? Lashanta says, I used to love Trina, not so much. Oh, okay, that's a good one. Allison says, have a good night, Lashanta. It's good to see you again. Let her find out Josh is in WSB. Give her something to do. Yeah, how's that Teresa Lopez thing going? I mean, Allison, I think we knew what you were going for. Um, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't sit there and really give her a proper answer. Allison says, yeah, she needs a purpose beyond being rude and judgmental. Well, yeah, because like that's not working for her. That's not working for her. And like I said, just to go back to, I do think the writers know what to do with Trina. Ariana says, I do think the writers know what to do with Trina. Like to make her work and viable and like make people tune into her scenes. Oh, I don't think. Oh, okay. Sometimes it just makes me want. I look at this and it's like, did he not know what to do with her, or did he not care what to do with her? Right? Like I look at the Young and the Restless. And I look at Mariah and Tess, and I'm just like, they don't know what to do with those characters. So they're an LGBT couple. CBS has, I'm going to be honest, and this is just my thoughts. CBS has never really been okay with LGBT content, but they like to sit there and do it because, you know, um, they like to sit there and act like they are hip with the times and whatever. So, like, so you just have Mariah decide to go fucking nutso and just kidnap a whole fucking baby, kidnap a whole kid, talking to what she believes is a dead person and just like kidnapping Dominic? Really? That's the best that they could have sat there and given Mariah? A character has been on the show for years, but because she's an LGBT character, we're just not going to bother to give her a good story? It's like they don't remember her past or how the character came to came to now. That's right, Susan. I mean, granted, she's been crazy for a while, talking to what she thought was dead Ian Ward, but now she decided to step up the level of crazy and decide to take Dominic. Now, listen, I'm cool with them giving Abby something to do, but like, you just now decide to make her fucking crazy? Like, really? This is my whole thing, Susan. So when JLJ Media Assistant talks about the Taraya fans and stuff like that, it's like, how are there how are there how are there actual fans when they decide to sit there and write her now kidnapping fucking kids? Like what are we doing at this point? This is what they have her doing. Like, yeah, it's just like you're just kidnapping kids now. Really? That's I mean, when Ari was born, they didn't see it because Ari's birth and everything like that happened off screen. They've done so much stuff off screen with Mariah and Tess. It's almost like they're basically saying like, we don't want to do this story with this LGBT couple, but we want to sit there and constantly make it seem like we're down with the LGBT and representation, but then they have asked their stories more times than not. This is what they have going on for the Taraya fans. Um, I personally think that's a stupid name, but whatever. As I'm watching it today, I'm sitting there thinking further ahead. I'm like, okay, so when everything is said and done, and now and that's another thing, Jonathan. Now they pair to Tessa with Daniel, right? So the only LGBT couple on the show, they just decide to make her straight. And I get with Tessa because like we can sit there and say that okay, cool, she's bi and everything like that, but like you practically decided we're just gonna make her be with a man now. And what happens to Mariah? Do you think Marissa would be a better Messa would be a better name? Um, I mean, I'm cool. I'm cool with well, I don't really do couples like couples groups names or whatever. This is probably something I will agree with Last Day. I always found those names to be just fucking stupid. Um, just in general, but it's just a simple fact that like JOJ said, like they're just ungaying this couple, you know. And it's like, well, what happens? What happens to Mariah? What happens to Mariah after this? After everything is said and done, they find out that she was the one that kidnapped Dominic. What happens? What happens to her? Does she leave the show? Is she going to jail? Is she just going to sit there and get off scot free in a sense? Like, there's another one like Trina. He is so unlikable in his scenes with Phyllis. Susan. Here's my thing. Like, this is where I just lost it with Daniel. He went to a lunch party for Billy and Sally, during a new investment, during a new business venture of Chancellor, whatever. I mean, not Chancellor, but Abbott Communications. Daniel, the entire time, sitting there making these remarks of, well, Billy's going to fail. He's going to fail. I'm glad that you're not involved with Billy because he's going to fail. It's like, damn, you do realize that you don't have a job, right? It was like, let me just put it this way. People that are unemployed, and I'm not trying to be a dick, but people that are unemployed, you don't get to sit there and judge somebody else on what their job is. Bro, how are you feeding your kid at this point? And granted, I'm not sitting there like job shaming or anything like that, but when you don't have something, you don't get to sit there and judge somebody else on what they're doing. Like, you don't get to do that. That's exactly, Susan. That's my whole thing. What's good, Warrior Hero? That's my whole thing. It's like, bro, you have sat there and was just making all these comments, this, there, that, and the third. It's like, bro, you don't have a job. Like, how is that? Like, how do you sit there and say that stuff in your head and not think to yourself, I'm being a fucking hypocrite? This is just where it's like the lights aren't on with Daniel, and he's just so. This is another person who just has no self awareness. Johnson says, "Do you think Trina will be more likable if Spencer came back?" Um, well, it's not so much if somebody else came back; it's the traits that are making her unlikable. The traits that are making her unlikable is her being judgmental, nasty, rude, and bitchy towards her mother. Those are the traits that are unlikable. When she was with when she was with Spencer, she made Spencer more tolerable, and she came across as somebody who was like, you know, ride or die, loyal, not a pushover, not a nag, but not a pushover. She exhibited those qualities. The qualities is what made her a likable character. Not Spencer coming back. Not Spencer. Not necessarily Spencer. Qualities that made her. Those qualities are replaced with qualities that people aren't feeling. Susan says, "I wonder if Lily would be pissed at Kane that she teamed up with Victor." That who teamed up with Victor? I don't think so, War Hero. Victor, his thing. There's not a there's not a lot of good qualities for Victor. Okay? One of the things that Victor said was like, "I'm not going to put Lily and her family in danger because of Neil." Right? I'm wondering what he's going to do to get back the company. And the sad thing is that if listen, I'm going to be honest. I'll tell you right now. If he gets back this fucking company, then we done sat there and went through this whole ride of, wow, the victors are, the Newmans are finally going to sit there and lose something and have a big L. But if they just give him back the company that fast, I'm going to be like, what the fuck am I watching at this point? When she was suspicious, she had adventure and was smart and likable. Exactly. She exhibited qualities that people rock with. And like I said, for me, it was her loyalty, but it was also the fact that she wasn't a pushover. You know, she rocked with Spencer. She was with Spencer, but she didn't she gave Spencer flack when Spencer was out of pocket. But she wasn't a fucking nag. Now this version that we're dealing with. She's been so nasty to Kane, and she is Kane's or Hercules arc a Hercules heel. Her and her kids. I'm surprised. Like the Hercules. Is that the ride or die is what sold it for me. Because that's what sold it for me with Sam. That's what sold it for me with Sam. Sam was ride or die. She was there with backup, with guns blazing and stuff like that. And then she became this fucking annoying ass fucking Karen. So GH has a way of just writing characters and then just, oh, either we're going to try something new or they just don't care. But then when they write them another way, it just doesn't work. Exactly. This version is hard to watch. So, like, all right. Now, I've been in denial for like 20 minutes about the fact that my ass got to wake up at 4 o'clock, which is really good. Except for the fact that I got to wake up at 4 o'clock. So, as fun as this has been, I should probably sit there and take my cute black ass to bed. But I will be back on Friday because tomorrow is just really fucking bad day. Well, I'll be back on Friday, which would be cool because Saturday I'm actually off, so we can actually have some fun. But yeah, this was fun. Lasted a lot longer than I planned, but you know that's how these fun things go. Ariana, thank you for joining. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to see you. Have a good night, Susan. Thank you for coming through. Have a good night, Allison. Thank you. Dolomedics, Spiderquake, Queen Jess, Jonathan, said Dolomedics, Queen of the South, Amy H, and I said Allison. And anybody who I forgot, Warrior Hero, Letitia Hunter, Black Mind. Johnson says one more question. Martin and Tracy, do you think they become a thing? You know, Jonathan, it's funny. I said there's a thin line between love and hate. Okay, Marty isn't with someone, Tracy isn't with someone, and there's a thin line between love and hate. So I would not put that out the possibilities. Have a good night, Blackmon. Have a good night, Danny Bear. Also subscribe to Danny Bear. If you're not subscribed to her, definitely subscribe to her channel. Johnson says, join us next time for another edition of Soul Chat with Apple Bostic. And you didn't really answer my question on the Teresa thing, but what is Wednesday? So I guess we have some time. But yeah, let me know about the whole Teresa thing. Johnson says, good night, everyone. And hit the like button. Yes, hit that goddamn like button because it really does help. Like I said, anyway, there's a thin line between love and hate. Those lines, they do tend to blur. Two sides of the same coin and all that. But yeah. Thank you, Jonathan. You are a fucking G, and I appreciate you. Seriously, I do. So thank you. I don't know if you said anything before. I might have missed it, but listen, Jonathan has been making some really good calls with the member streams as far as the characters that he's been picking. So, hi everyone. I'll sit there and see you on Friday. Laters.